Hey, BassGeek here, and today we're going to be talking about mid-depth diving crankbaits for spring bass. All right, guys, before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to my boy, Tackle Junkie 81, for letting me rock the dope shirt. Now, let's jump in because I want to make sure that I'm giving back to you guys. And we're going to talk about some baits. So, every month, you guys know I've partnered with Mytery Tackle Box. I have been behind, so make sure you're watching the next few videos because there's going to be not one, but 2 boxes given away. This box in particular is actually the February box. I have not gotten to get out on the water to be able to do a how-to or an instructional video for you guys talking about one of the baits in the box. Now today we're going to be talking about mid-depth diving crankbaits, and that's one of my favorite things to throw this time of year. But for right now, let's see what's in the box. By the way, there is a code and a link in the description of the video where you can go and get your first box for as low as $5. Now, you guys know I always tell you, this is actually great for the new guys to build your tackle, to build your confidence in new baits, but it's also great for us old heads. You know, I know you guys have seen my tackle dungeon, and if you haven't, go back and watch some of those videos, especially the last live stream when we're talking about, you know, jerk baits. Guys, I spend a lot of money on fishing gear. You know, I'm lucky enough to have a good job, and I'm lucky enough to have a wife that has a good job, and so, you know, I get to buy a lot of stuff. You know, I'm a lucky man. Which is one of the reasons why I want to make sure that I give back to you guys. So make sure, even if you're an old head, make sure you go out, because what you can find is maybe that hidden new gem that you've never tried or would have never tried before. I mean, come on, for as low as 20 bucks a month, you can have a box of baits that you're not just hearing have worked well, but you actually get to put your hands on, you actually get to tie a line on, and you actually get to toss around and see how that bait really works on your home lakes. All right, so let's get right to the unboxing, and then we'll get to the how-to. So in this mystery tackle box, of course, we've got the first, this is one of the Carl's Bait and Tackle. This is their, let's see, what is this thing called? The Shiver Crank. And guys, I'll just tell you, I'm a huge fan of that color. It's a bluegill color, so if you don't have shad, you know, I'm a big shad guy, lots of shad in the lakes that I fish, but those big pigs will focus in on that bluegill. And I'll tell you, if you've got some ponds and some lakes that predominantly have panfish, that is going to be a super sweet bait. Now, as always, I'll show you kind of what it goes out, what the retail prices are. And generally, you're going to get, you know, probably about 40, maybe upwards of 60 bucks worth of baits in these boxes right here. You get the Dibble Digest, gives you some pointers. We've got a Guggen Baits Guggen Squad, which is, I don't know what they call this. It's white. It is the Zinger spinner bait. Pretty good looking spinner bait. Got a nice little jerk bait. Another great bait to throw this time of year. You've got some Z-Man. Looks like a neat little TRD Hog Z or Hogs. Got a killer little nano jig from, oh gosh, who is that? I can't tell. Molex. Another bait as it warms up from Excite. We've got a great looking, a good little curl tail. And I really dig that color too. I'll be honest with you, that color is super sweet. It's kind of almost a transparent green pumpkin on the back to a silver. I don't know if you can see that, but that is a very killer little color. I like that little curl tail on there, and we get some pretty cool hooks that would work great on the soft plastic jerkbait. All right, guys, so let's take out this this crankbait, and let's show you what I like to fish it on and how I like to fish it. So let's talk about rod, reel, and line setup for those medium divers. Guys, this is, again, Carl's Shiver Crank. This is a bluegill pattern. You know, you probably fish it when you have perch because of the lines. That color and that design, translucent, so it's good for clear water. I tell you, I just really like that color. But anyway, so this is a medium diver to me. It dives 6 to 10 feet based on the amount of line that you have and the distance of your cast. Now, talking about distance of cast, this is one area, unlike when we were talking about in the last video with the spinner baits, this is an area I like a little longer rod. So this rod right here, this is my Lew's Custom Speed Stick, and this is, I believe, a 7'10". Now this is a medium moderate action. It's a very long rod, 7'10", medium moderate. It's got a great parabolic bend to it. You can fish baits from, you know, as light as a ½ ounce all the way up to your bigger crankbaits, which are 1 ounce and 3/8. So this one cranking rod will do a lot and enable you to fish a ton of different size crankbaits. But in the spring, especially the early spring, one of my favorite baits to throw is those medium divers. So those crankbaits that run from about 6 to about 16 feet. It's probably one of the only times that's really my go-to bait. So like I said, about 6 to 10 feet is what this one's going. Now the line, I'm going to throw it on fluorocarbon. This is 10 pound. You can go as low as 8 pound to get it down a little bit deeper. You can go 12 pound if you're around a lot more shallow cover. It's also going to allow it to stay a little higher in the water column. But that 10 pound test is what I like to go to. Now this is a Lew's BB1. It is a 6-4 to 1. My medium divers, I like to throw on a 6. Now once we get into our big deep divers, 20 plus divers, I like to throw those 5 speeds. They're just those 6 speeds will really beat on you. And you want to stay in that low 6 when you're throwing these medium divers. Now, when you get up, let's say to a square bill, you might be able to get into the 7. But even then, to me, you have to be careful. I like maybe that, you know, 6-4 because you can work it through cover. You're not going to reel it right in and pull it into those laydowns that would. You know, grass is a little different, of course. The big thing about a crankbait is, guys, bump the bottom. That is the big thing. Now, there's always times when a crankbait can be fished for suspending bass, but where it really shines is when you're taking that bill, you're bumping the bottom, you're banging the stumps, and you're rocking and rolling over that riprap. So you want this deflecting off of any type of cover or structure on the bottom that you can get it to reflect off of, because a lot of times when you hit it and it makes that sudden movement, that's when you're going to get bit. So now let's get out here and I'll show you a couple of retrieves, a couple of ways I like to fish it. All right, guys, so one of the things about a crankbait this time of year, you want to make sure that you're keeping that crankbait in the strike zone. Paralleling the bank is a huge part of that. So making sure, if you're out on the boat, making sure that you are staying from that 6 to 10 foot range is key. You know, generally I'm going to go ahead and cast that up just a little bit shallower, and I'm going to crank it down. Now, even with the cold weather, I'm going to start out cranking it fairly fast. I'm going to change my retrieves up as we go, but I'm going to be covering water, and that's what this bait is all about. Covering water. Now that over there, that's something, don't be afraid to throw your crankbait, slow down when you do, into that brush, into that lay down. Feel the bait as it starts to get tight. Stop, let it float up, crank again. Give it about 1 to 2 seconds. But don't be afraid of that brush. A lot of times those are the areas you're going to get bit. Now as far as retrieve goes, it's a crankbait, guys. Crank it fast, crank it slow, stop and go. There's your 3 retrieves. The stop and go action for me, 90% of the time, if I hit something, I'll give it a crank or 2 and then I'll stop it. I like to give it a few cranks at first, really slow it down, stop it, crank it back down till I feel the bottom, stop it, crank it back down till I feel the bottom, stop it, and just do that sort of thing. But like I said, 90% of the time, I've got my foot on the trolling motor and I am covering water. This is a bait that this time in the spring, I'm going to use to find those bass. And once I find them, it's going to change everything. Now I'm going to set up, make several casts. Once I get a bite, I'm going to set up, make several casts to that spot. If I don't get any more bites, I'm going to slow down then, and I'm going to pull out something like a jig, a wobble head, a Ned rig. This is a bait that I use to locate bass with. So guys, locations to fish this bait, you know, you're going to fish it in transition banks. Early on, start main lake points, move to the first third of that creek, and really target areas that look like this. You've got a big bluff that goes to chunk rock, maybe that goes to mud. Those transition areas are going to be key this time of year. All that being said, cover water with it. This is not a bait you have to fish slow. Chuck and wind, move and go. This is what you're going to use to locate fish, pattern fish, and hopefully catch more bass. Now, like I said, that medium diver is a great place to start, especially on, you know, your main lakes, your channel swings, because you can throw this bait up as steep as this lake is. You can throw it up into what looks like 2 or 3 foot of water, and it's really going to contour that drop off, that 45-degree drop off. Those points, you're still going to focus on the steeper side of them right now, and that's where they'll stack up this time of year. So use this to find them, but when you get a bite, slow down and fish that spot a lot more thoroughly. All right, so what are we going to do to give this box to you? We're going to make it simple as we always do. Damn, I'm a poet, but I did know it. So anyway, all you have to do in the comment section below is put crankbait. So hashtag crankbait. In the comment section, you can say whatever you want. Tell me what some of your favorite crankbaits are, but make sure you put down there hashtag crankbait. And 1 week from now, we'll do a drawing and give this box to one of you guys. Don't worry, I'll clean this. I'll clean the grass off this lure and dry it up so we don't rust the hooks on it. As always, guys, questions and comments, hashtag crankbait to win the box in the comment section below. You guys know I love to talk about fishing with you. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you go subscribe to Tackle Junkie. Man, there's a fish jump right out there. I'm telling you, gonna have to do a little fishing now. And as always, you guys rock.